3 News, we share stories of unsung heroes who make our local communities better. How people are making a difference where you live. Fridays at 4, only on Local 3 News.
Okay, if you are getting a little bit older, if you're lucky enough to be over, I think the age is 65 maybe, and you're thinking of transitioning into independent senior living, then you have picked a very good time to watch 3+U, because Katie Holloway and Brandy Murray are back on the show with Hickory Valley Retirement Community, where life is anything but boring.
That is for sure.
Good to see you both.
Good to see you.
Was I right? Because here's what I had in my head as I was talking. I know that some of your oldest residents are 106.
Yes, we have one turning 105.
105.
In April, yes. But it's actually 55 plus.
55?
Yeah, so
okay.
we even have some people in their early 60s, late 60s. We just have a very big group in each.
Yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and quite a few turning 100 this year.
Well, I kind of think that's relevant to bring up, and I know, Brandy, you talk about this every time you're here. You kind of get this smile on your face when you talk about the residents, but there's quite an age difference, 60 to 100, yes. But that kind of keeps that energy level strong.
It does, it does. They really just thrive on each other and each other's experiences and histories and where they come from and what they've done, and it's really nice. And when you look at the residents that we have at Hickory Valley, even the ones that are 90s and closer to 100, they're still thriving and they're still very active. This is not what most people in that generation looked at as like a nursing home. We are the furthest thing from that.
No, and that's why I said there's always something going on. So one thing I will tell you, if this is kind of in your mind, y'all are on a waiting list now, right?
Yeah, so very limited availability, and so we have quite a few people, especially if you're wanting a particular apartment style or size, going on the waiting list. So it's a great time to come and look and go ahead and secure your spot.
Maybe a time to go and look would be on February 7th, because y'all have a health fair coming up.
We do. So we're celebrating February being Heart Health Month, and so we do have a health fair February the 7th from 2 to 4. We're going to have different vendors, different kind of health screenings. So it's a great kind of low pressure opportunity to come and just see the community. You can take a tour of an apartment if you would like to, but it's a great time to come and see the energy and also get some health screenings. Even if you're not in the market necessarily quite yet for senior living, we still invite you to come out. We'd love for you to come out to Hickory Valley.
You know, I've been there a few times, but I've never been into one of the apartments, so I can't speak to that. But one of the things that always strikes me, I tell you this every time, but is the sunlight that comes through. You know what I'm talking about, Brandy?
That's, yeah.
But it's also, it feels like probably what home would feel like to people, because it's not so new that it feels staged.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. When I'm doing my walkthroughs with people, one of my favorite places is that second story.
That's
just
what
that
I think
breezeway. And our residents love it up there. They sit up there, they play cards and games and rummy cube and all the things up there. But it's just so bright in area. It's like floor to ceiling windows, and it's a beautiful place.
But it's very cozy.
Absolutely.
You have little nooks kind of built in. And I want to say that window area that you're talking about, is that the one that overlooks a courtyard or something? And like, I want to say there are bird feeders everywhere.
There are, and it overlooks, you can see the fountain out there and things like that. It reminds me a lot of people that used to have like the sunrooms or the Florida rooms, and it just feels warm. Just about every day, especially here in the winter right now, when I go by there, there's usually a resident sitting there at that window. They'll move a chair over and they're just basking in that sunlight.
Yeah, it's also kind of tucked into a neighborhood feel.
It is.
Which I think is good too, because it's really, for a lot of people anyway, it's hard to think about leaving your home and your trees and your neighbors. I mean, y'all see this every day, don't you, Katie?
Absolutely. So it's a big adjustment. You know, you've lived in your home for 40 years or 60 years, and so the adjustment to move into a community can be a little bit daunting, but once you come and you experience the community feel, and one of our residents, you know, has always said, she's lived there about 10 years now, and she said, once I go to my apartment, close the door, this does feel like home. It's actually our tagline, is a place you'll call home. It has that homey feel, like you said. And although we have 118 apartments and it's a big community, it doesn't feel overwhelming and big.
The location in town, I think, is good too, because it's right there, kind of where 153 and Lee Highway come together. It's
Sure.
a little bit farther by the children's home, right?
Yes, yes.
So if you're in the Hickson area, it's not far from you. If you're downtown, not far. And then, of course, every doctor in town has an office in East Brainerd, practically.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and we also do, on that topic, we provide transportation Monday through Friday to your doctor's appointments. So even if you drive, but you've got like they're going to dilate your eyes, or you just would rather have someone drive you, that is something we offer as transportation. So you can be independent and thriving, but also just have some extra services that we can help you with.
Is it common, and you might know this too, Brandy, to see families coming to visit? Are there children around a lot?
Absolutely. We really focus on being very multi-generational. So even when we're planning events, Katie and I are looking at things that not only are going to make our residents happy, but it's also going to bring in their children and their grandchildren, and that's very important to us.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
But I love your story. Weren't you an EMT? And you would make calls there sometimes, right? Or something, and you fell in love with it?
I've loved Hickory Valley for many years, and I tell people, even when I'm doing my tours, that I can honestly say I've been in every community around here. And Hickory Valley was always one that you knew that when you were going, that those residents were coming, maybe they were just truly sick or they had had a fall, but even the way that we would be presented them, they were always clean, they weren't disheveled, you know, they were put together, the staff cared, they knew what was going on with that resident. And that's not always the case at some other places.
Well, maybe February 7th is your time to go and see it for yourself. You don't have to wait until then, though. You can always either drop by or make an appointment. And I know you said you had a bunch of other things coming up in February, but we're about out of time.
Sure. So just quickly, Valentine's Day party on the 14th. We'll have a king and queen, and we have a full activity calendar. You can actually access that on our website too.
Okay, then here's where you will find it. It's hickoryvalleyretirement.com, 855-0508 if you want to jot down their number. Thanks.
Thank you, Julie.
Hi, I'm Paul Barris, and I love to travel together with you on holiday vacations Enchanting Ireland tour. September 17th to the 26th. Experience the ancient history, natural beauty, and the warm hospitality of Ireland. We travel across this beautiful country visiting places like the Kilkenny Castle and the breathtaking cliffs of Moher. Visit holidayvacations.com, keyword local 3, to request a brochure. Watch a travel show and book this tour.
Want a flatter, tighter tummy? Then check out new Ab EX from Sony.